welcome back to Beam Gear. Now, as you can see behind me, we are not at the Beam Gear studio anymore. Instead, we're at the top secret Beam Gear garage. This is because we did not pay the rent on time and we owe over $39,000. Not a very nice situation. Thankfully, after an 8-episode season, we will be changing it up a bit. Anyway, let's not get bogged down with the unfortunate eviction, and let's make ourselves at home inside this very humid, moist, and sweaty garage. You know, manufacturers love to claim their latest model is a paradigm shift. They use words like synergy, performance-orientated, and driver focus until the words lose all meaning. It's enough to make you want to walk to work. But then, once in a blue moon, someone actually builds a car that seems to ignore the board meetings and focus on the one thing that actually matters: being absolutely brilliant. For months, perhaps even years, we heard whispers. At first, we thought it was just the wind whistling through the vineyards of Auvergne. Or perhaps the faint, distant rumble of a high-revving engine echoing off the Alps. And finally, the source of all that commotion has broken cover. This is the new Sherriier Ardant. Now, Ardant is an old term translating roughly to fiery or burning with passion, which, having spent the last hour in the driver's seat, feels less like a marketing badge and more like a warning label from the local gendarmerie. It's a machine that looks like it's doing 100 miles an hour while standing perfectly still, and it's finally here to show the rest of the FCV platform what happens when you take a sensible French hatchback, strip away the compromises, and feed it nothing but espresso shots and adrenaline. Under the hood of the S410 Frisson model, you're looking at a 2.5-liter turbocharged inline 5. It's putting out a massive 400 brake horsepower, 387 pounds-feet of torque. It's not just about the numbers though, it's about how it sits on the road. With an all-wheel drive setup and a wide-track independent front and rear suspension, it's lower, planted, and significantly more aggressive than the standard Vivace. The problem with most coupes this size is that they handle like a shopping trolley with a wobbly wheel, but because of the way Sherriier has pushed the engine back and widened it, you can feel the balance right here between your shoulder blades. It's not fighting you, it's inviting you to be an idiot. It's got this aggressive, I'm going to win the rally face, but in the real world, it's actually surprisingly tiny. The wheelbase is short, the overhangs are minimal, and the track width is tucked neatly within the body lines. It occupies very little physical footprint on the asphalt. You don't have to worry about narrow lines or restricted access roads with this machine. It fits precisely where you point it, and it maintains a light, agile posture and makes maneuvering in tight spaces completely effortless. Weighing in just over 3,400 pounds, it's impressively nimble. While the Vivace is a sensible hatchback you take to the grocery store, the Ardant is a car you take to the mountain pass just to hear the turbo flutter in the switchbacks. It's light, it's sharp, and quite frankly, it's the piece of the Sherriier puzzle we didn't know we were missing until it arrived. The question that I've been waiting to ask is, does it actually live up to the name? Or is it just a case of all fire, no fuel? The only way to answer that is to hand the keys off to our tame racing driver. Some say that he's legally classified as a type of shrubbery in 3 different time zones, and that his favorite snack is a bowl of lukewarm engine coolant. All we know is he's called the Gits. Now here goes the Gits. He is taking off wicked fast like a rocket ship, already reaching high speeds through Crooner. Now coming into Wilson, the front end is biting the asphalt like a hungry dog. Surprisingly very wide. I think that's the preferred line by the Gits when he's driving an all-wheel drive car. Now coming into Hammerhead, looking nice and controlled, keeping it very tight and smooth. It's either a masterclass in weight transfer or he's just trying to see if he can make the suspension snap. Now absolutely flying through follow through. Can't wait to check out the tire cam through Bentley. That is insanely fast and he's getting a little bit sideways. But the Gits has it under control, going in the dirt a little bit, using 100% of that track. Now we've only got these 2 corners left. Coming through Gambon now, headed for the line and across the line. Now taking a look at our power lap board, of course the Ravix has a 1 minute 18 time, taking first place. But let's see where the Ardant goes on the board. With a time of 1 minute 22.73 seconds. That's going to put it at our 2nd place spot on the leaderboard. That is a very good time. Now, while the Gits goes off to pry his fingers loose from the Ardant steering wheel, we must turn our attention to something altogether bigger. This is the Procyon Centuri. Now, Procyon, for those who don't spend their weekends reading about Japanese automotive manufacturer divisions, is Hirochi's high-end luxury brand. And what you are looking at is their flagship, 2nd generation luxury monster. Procyon knew that most buyers would just take this to the local shopping center and call it an adventure. But for a very specific type of buyer, or perhaps a collector with more money than sense, they built this. On paper, it gives you everything you expect. Adaptive air suspension, 3 locking differentials, an interior wrapped in soft leather, and enough computing power to launch a rocket. Literally. This is the top of the tree X520T with the Perseverance package. Which, of course, by the name, you can tell this was inspired by the 2020 NASA Mars rover. Procyon took their flagship luxury lounge, threw out the delicate executive trim, and bolted on every piece of heavy-duty off-road gear in their inventory. You get unique, aggressive front and rear off-road bumpers, heavy-duty front rock sliders, black plastic body cladding everywhere, a factory-installed roof basket with an integrated LED light bar, and a functional snorkel so you can drown the interior leather long before your engine actually quits. Take a seat inside and the juxtaposition just gets even crazier. You're sitting inside an absolute fortress of luxury, digital gauge displays, heated and ventilated massage seats, and ultra plush leather everywhere. The shiny wood finish and multi-tone leather on the steering wheel and upholstery just looks beautiful. And let's not forget about modern tech. Dead center, in the dash, is 2 massive digital display screens. It rides on 17-inch Centuri wheels wrapped in thick, knobby all-terrain rubber, paired with a lifted off-road suspension setup and locking diffs. And also because it's a 520T, it retains that gargantuan 4.4-liter twin turbocharged V8. It's absolutely massive. It puts out 520 horsepower straight to all 4 wheels through an active 4x4 transfer case. Which means there's only one thing left to do. We took it to an extreme off-road trail and we are going to see if this 2.5-ton Planet Explorer can actually survive the wilderness, or if it's just a regular luxury SUV wearing a very expensive tactical vest. After bashing about on the trails, the crew and I attempted rougher terrain in the rocky region, but it turns out the name Perseverance is only good on Mars, and the Centuri is only as bright as a city stoplight at 4 a.m. So there you have it. It's fast, it's sleek, it handles well, and it makes a noise that generally frightens wildlife. But to acquire this slice of engineered perfection, you will need to hand over $121,000. Now, for that sort of money, you would reasonably expect complete perfection. You'd expect the touchscreens to read your mind. But instead, what do you actually get? You get 3 separate submenus just to turn on the seat heaters. I think I spent 20 minutes on the highway trying to warm my lower back, and instead I accidentally changed the ambient cabin lighting to sunset purple and rerouted the GPS to a flower shop. Moving on. Usually, when a car reaches the end of its life, it goes to the crusher. It's a dignified, quick, and most importantly, final process. But today, we're not interested in dignity. We're interested in finding out what exact point the Gavril D-Series chooses to give up the ghost. Some people say the D-Series is built like a tank. Others say it's built like a shed that's been bolted to a train. Today, we're going to find out if it can survive the Beam Gear Endurance Protocol. Now, I want to make this plain and simple. We are not Hollywood. We do not use stuntmen. We do not use any CGI or effects. There are no mechanical alterations to the truck at all. We just picked it up from the farmyard and we brought it here. The D-Series is quite slow and handles poorly, but it more than makes up for it with durability and brute force. And lucky for me, this truck we found has a roll bar, off-road wheels, and over 300,000 miles. Let's start with abusing this thing around town. After destroying Belasco City's shrubbery and polluting the water littering on the freeway and hillside, the D-Series somehow is still alive. The next thing I thought up was driving it through obstacles. I found and cannon. Surely this will end it. But somehow, it still has the strength to drive away. So we found out the D series is actually tougher than we thought. But moving on. Now I know we haven't done a guest star in a sports car segment in a while, and it's because we found out the Gitz was secretly hiding in the passenger footwell of every car, judging the guest's footwork and silently judging their life choices until they refused to come back. So I am delighted to announce that we are back in business, and kicking things off, we're inviting someone who is arguably even more unpredictable than the Gitz himself. Today, we're joined by Nahugona, or Nahu for short, because I don't know if I'm saying it right. Welcome in. Welcome to the show. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing fine.
So, what do you currently drive, or what did you drive to the studio today?
Since I'm not in my area, I rented a car, and it is a Toyota Corolla renting company nearby because I'm not from the around the studio.
Hey, the Corolla is a good choice. That's a very reliable car. In the past, you've owned three Citroens. I'm probably not even saying that right either, but I gotta know,
And you're right.
are you trapped in a loyalty program, or what just sparks your interest in that type of car?
The first three cars, literally, I went to a garage, I bought a used car. I went to the garage where the car can be maintained. And when the car broke down, I basically bought the replacement at that garage for trading to have discount. And with the third car, I did exactly the same thing. And then I decided my brain goes, this garage is not a good garage. Then I went to other cars and other manufacturers.
Okay, so it was affordable at the time to have those cars.
Yeah.
Okay, and then now you also had a Ford LTDS. So it's
Yeah.
not just an American land yacht, though, but an ex funeral flower car that was engine swapped by a previous owner. How on earth do you acquire a vehicle built for mourning? And what does one actually use a car like that for on a regular Monday?
Well, the dumbest mistake in my car history, I had a brand new Citroen C3 on a loan base. And then I saw on the interwebs a Chevy El Camino, the fourth gen. I wanted to look at that, but that was sold, and it was a ex funeral flower car. And it was so cool, and I decided to just trade it for that Citroen. Of course, my parents not very happy, but me very happy because big American V8.
Yeah, I
It took
would
me
be
about
too.
yeah, it took me about 6 months at a car meet nearby to have someone that knows American car to point out that's not a 302, that's 350. And I was like, what?
Now, being over in Europe, owning an American car with a V8, do people give you weird looks on the street?
No, but my bank account was not very happy.
I get that. So, among all these cars you've owned sits a Hyosung Aquila.
That
Uh,
is the last
that's
vehicle. That is the bike.
that's a motorcycle, 125cc V twin cruiser. Uh, it wants to be a Harley Davidson. So that's the one
Yeah,
vehicle that doesn't have four wheels that you've owned. Do you have an interest in motorcycles, or was it just a fun toy that you tried out?
I like the cruiser bike stuff. And also because cars are really at that point because went through three Citroens, the American Ford, a Cadet, two Peugeots, BMW, and basically I've realized that cars are basically a bad thing for me because my passion. I decided let's just try a bike. bit more agile, a bit more nimble. And it was fun. I drove the bike for a year until too many close calls and decided, well, drivers are too ignorant and basically a liability.
Well, I'm glad you made that
So,
choice, but do you miss the bike?
I miss the bike and the BMW, the E30 Touring, because I could chuck it in a corner. I could chuck it in a corner at 70 kilometers in the hour.
I was gonna ask what your favorite car was that you ever owned. It sounds like it's the BMW.
A little bit. The BMW because it handles very good, and the Ford, the LTDS wagon because it's just comfy, a couch on wheels.
Couch on wheels, and you can put a body in the back.
I didn't do that.
This question is something I have to ask every guest. If you would have
Oh dear.
any car in the world, no matter how much it costs, what would you choose?
Look, these are regarding the price and the maintenance costs and everything else.
No, don't worry about the cost. None of that.
The problem with me, I like too many cars.
Hey, you know what? Give me your top three.
Oh, top three, that's much easier. A Ferrari F355 because of the looks, a Chevy El Camino, a Ford Chevy El Camino, and a Nissan 200 SX.
Those are
Right
great
hand drive.
choices. I mean, you could have picked something that was millions of dollars, and I'm surprised you
And
didn't.
thing with those is you can't drive those because you're too scared to mess it up. I mean, I could say Lamborghini Gallardo Spider, but the thing is, I'm balding, so that's not a good look. And I could say something like, a Pagani Huayra. And that's way too expensive to just drive it. And also, where do I drive it? I'm in Europe. The roads here are not always that wide.
No, I would not know. My only answer would be the Nürburgring. That's probably the only road name that I know.
Yeah, that is hours away.
So let's go ahead and talk about now your lap. You go by a rule, no opinion unless you tried it. So what do you think of the Sunburst?
Good car, drive nice, understeers a little bit if you go a bit like a loony. But other than that, still a good car.
That's good to hear. Unfortunately, our budget only allowed us to have a front wheel drive Sunburst, but we figured it would be good enough
That's the
for,
understeer.
yeah, it's a decent car. So, did you get any advice from the Gits, or did you feel comfortable enough to keep it out of the grass?
Well, the fact that the kids managed to roll a pigeon, I decided to just no go by feel.
Ooh, I hope the Gits is not listening. So, how do you feel now? Are you excited to see what your lap time is?
I'm actually curious.
Let's check it out. Roll the tape. And Nahu is off. Making his way now through Crooner. Making his way through Wilson, keeping a tight line. The speed is there, but the line is not the best. As long as he keeps his speed up, he may be able to put a good time on the leaderboard. The line is not perfect, but the momentum is there. Now coming into Chicago, I will say this car has not been driven in a few weeks, so I'll give it to him if this car is not really up to par. Still looking like he has great speed and great momentum. Coming through follow through. Now flying through Bentley. We are down now to just 2 corners. And now coming around Gambon and across the line. And now let's go ahead and tell you your time. You got 1 minute 44.72
Ooh,
seconds. So there you have it. You are now the first place time on our lap board. Congratulations.
ay caramba.
Ay caramba, indeed. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
And everyone, give it up for our guest, Nahugona. So we left off the D series in a sorry state. I must say, it's not over. What we have planned next for it is something that will only change it for the worse. The final test, total terminal velocity, 400 feet, solid rock, and the laws of physics. Somewhere down there is where the D-Series will end up. If this thing survives this, I'm officially declaring the D-Series a deity. Look at it, it's barely a truck anymore. It's a collection of jagged metal and broken promises. Most sane people would call for a tow truck. But here at Beam Gear, we're calling for a last hoorah. Alright, let's get on with it. Three, two, one, drop it. There it goes. It's dropping like an absolute stone. Gravity is taking over. Oh my. Let's go assess the damage. It looks like an accordion. The frame is hugging the tree. I don't think it survived. Now, welcome back to the studio, everyone. And yes, you are seeing this correctly. The D-Series is driving itself with no help right into our studio. The right front wheel is missing, the coolant is leaking, but the D-Series refuses to die. This may be the world's toughest truck. And of course, thank you everyone for joining us here tonight. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time. Good night.